future of social insurance in the United States, that's a future that has not yet been written by policymakers, but it'll be deeply affected by some of the funding challenges that are on the horizon. And that's something that, although it's not directly on the immediate radar of some of the policy changes that policymakers in Washington are talking about right now, it will be in the coming decade. And once those changes are made, they will be among the most significant policy changes to the U.S. fiscal system in the coming decade. So I think with respect to Social Security and disability insurance, if there are no changes to the programs within the next decade, roughly, then the amount of incoming tax revenue would be sufficient to fund between 75 and 80% of the benefits that are due to beneficiaries. And so if that issue is not solved and that imbalance rectified, then Social Security beneficiaries would face very significant cuts on the order of 20 to 25% of their benefits, and same for disability insurance beneficiaries. I think what gives me hope about it is that policymakers will have to find a solution. I think it'll be politically untenable for beneficiaries to sustain cuts of the magnitude that I referred to before, on the order of 20 to 25% of their benefits. The simplest solution to it is one that I laid out in some work that I've been working on recently, where the Social Security Trust Fund could potentially borrow from general revenues, or there could be some permanent financing mechanism coming from general revenues to fund the program. I'm not sure whether that's kind of the first best solution. That it's not necessarily the one that is optimal, but without making a comment on that, I think it's becoming increasingly likely that policymakers actually will end up there. The reason being that closing the gap through benefit cuts is very, very difficult to do politically as we approach the so-called exhaustion date or the depletion date when the trust funds run out of money. And solving the problem through tax increases also becomes increasingly difficult because we run out of time, basically, to kind of build up the reserves through tax increases between now and then that would be required. And so as policymakers don't do anything in the coming years, it becomes increasingly likely that the issue will be solved, whether on a temporary or permanent basis, through infusions of cash from general revenues. And that at least will buy some policymakers time to figure out a more permanent solution.